Oh Lord, there went my eardrums. The D is back.
The D is back.
Hello and welcome to Cognitions Speaking the Unspeakable with JP.
And StacyD.
I'm JP Craddock. I am here with the one and only StacyD Love. We are broadcasting here on KUAW Radio, which stands for Knowledge, Understanding,
And wisdom.
You can also catch us on Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, and TuneIn. If you want to call into the show, the number is 816.
Like and follow us.
Like and follow and share.
And share.
816-599-6893. The D.
Give that number again, please, JP.
816-599-6893. The D is back.
The D is back.
The D missed the kids. For those of you listeners who missed the last couple of weeks, we had some high schoolers here. It was wonderful.
It was.
And
I was so mad that I wasn't here.
And the kids wanted to meet you, D.
Oh.
Yeah, because they like your check-ins.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they like your check-ins. And so they wanted to meet you, and you supposed to, D, why you stood up the kids?
Yeah, I knew I wasn't coming. I told y'all. I was in training.
Speaking of training.
Oh, Lord.
D?
Yes.
Let's get to your check-in.
I'm through training.
Okay, you through
gone,
training.
What they say, gone live.
The D is doing full-on ride-or-die social work. And D, how's it going?
I don't like it.
What do you not like about it?
The kids, I see why I left kids alone.
I love the
and
kids.
I do disabled and senior citizens.
D, the kids. You got to love
The kids like me.
Well, that's good.
No, they keep knocking on my door.
Great.
Miss Head.
You the social worker.
No.
Because for those of you who are not aware, your schools have the school counselor, they have the school psychologist, and they have the school social worker.
I'm a SPED social worker.
And that's intense.
And
Now,
fine.
that's a whole different population of kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So stay out of my office because you're not on my caseload.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit more intense.
Yeah, they have 3 school social workers.
Okay.
And then not including me.
Okay, and so for those who are not aware, because most parents think that, well, if there's a problem, my kid goes to the school counselor. Would you explain about the difference between these roles of school psychologist, school social worker, and school counselor?
Oh, it's like totally different now than how it was when we went to school. Because now they even have an ALS counselor.
And what does that acronym stand for?
I have
What's
no idea.
ALS?
I don't know.
I don't think they had
ELS. Something LS. I don't know.
ELS.
Maybe ELS.
Did they?
Emotional. Ooh, you're loud too.
Yes. That when I'm whispering, it's because Mr. Walker got me cranked up.
Live driving fast.
You blew out 2 of my eardrums.
Sorry.
I don't think they had school social workers when we were in school.
No, they didn't.
Okay, because I was like,
didn't.
I don't remember seeing a school social worker in the school. There was just the school counselor. And am I mistaken? The school counselors don't actually do the counseling. They do academic counseling. The school social worker is the one up in there who's basically doing any therapy or counseling that needs to take place.
Basically, they're not doing very much counseling. They are mediating, stopping fights. They have a
now,
radio.
who's doing all that? The counselor or the
No,
social
the
worker?
social worker.
Oh, you stopping fights?
No, I ain't doing that.
But you supposed to be.
No, I'm not. I'm a SPED social worker.
Okay, well, what is the difference between the SPED social worker and the regular social worker? Who's breaking up the fights, D?
The regular social, the Gen Ed, they call them the Gen Ed social workers. They the ones breaking up the fights. They monitoring lunch and when kids are first coming in and all of that. They have a radio like they security. Oh, no, I'm not doing all that.
Wow.
And the kids are very disrespectful.
Now, mind you, these social work positions pay very well.
They're decent.
Every school social worker I know, they're like, well, it pays very well. But it can get intense. Okay, now, but you are not having to carry the radio and monitor
No.
lunch and break
No.
up fights.
No.
You are, what are you doing, D?
Well, with SPED, when SPED means special ed, so each child has a certain amount of SPED time with their social worker. So I might have someone for 20 minutes.
The one-on-ones.
The one-on-ones, 20 minutes, 3 times a week, 20 minutes, 1 time a week, 20 minutes, once a month. And I will pull them out their class. We'll
Okay.
sit down for 20 minutes. I have a timer
Uh-huh.
and do that and send them on back where they need to go.
Now, when you're with them, what are y'all working on?
Their goals, whatever their goals are.
And their therapeutic goals
They're out there.
around behavior, anger
Emotional.
management, all of those different things.
Organization. Yeah, it's a lot of
A
different.
lot of organizational skill development for the kids who have ADHD
a lot
because
of-
they
a
struggle
lot of
with
ADHD.
organization.
I really have a lot of the ones that have autism. Have
Okay.
a lot of those.
All right.
But I done figured out with the school psychologists because a lot of times they're so unreachable that we're just gonna do a group because I don't have to see them once a week. So if she and I do it together, we can do a group because they're in a skill in what is it called? A lot of them are in a classroom that they like on ventilators and
Oh.
diapers
Oh.
and have to be
Okay.
fed and things
Oh.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's it? Is it called not a skills room? Sales.
Okay.
Don't ask me what that means either because I don't know.
Okay, D, let everybody know. Because parents, they like, all these people, who do my kid go to if they having a crisis? If my kid is having an emotional meltdown, if my kid is being bullied, if my kid is, whatever the crisis may be,
If they're
who
getting-
do the kids need to go to? The social worker, the psychologist, or the counselor?
Okay. If they're getting bullied, they can go to any teacher or administrator.
Anybody.
Anybody. Because we
Be-
do not
and they
tolerate.
all better deal with that
and
bullying.
most definitely. And it would trickle down to the Gen Ed social worker. If I have time, I might handle it. But I already told them I don't have time. I have 40 kids on my caseload. I don't have time.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're having a breakdown or anyone, you can also go to the counselor because they do have a little bit of time when they're doing that because, mind you, they're not setting up schedules all year round.
Because I'm thinking, what are they doing?
The school is
Besides
like
setting up the
school is
schedule and getting
so
people into college. And they didn't help me with that.
No, we did all that stuff on our own,
All
which
on
was
my own.
really hard because guess what? A lot of our parents didn't even go to college. Yeah, my mom was a DON, but guess
Right.
what? She did that on the vocational track. She
Okay.
went to a vocational school and did that. So her telling me about college, no, I
We
was really
literally
the
had
first
to figure it out
generation.
on our
Yeah.
own.
And slip and fall.
Right.
Which I was able to give my kids a better thing. But anyway, so now the schools are set up so differently now. Like
Okay.
they have all different classes. Like they have a FA class was a family advocate. They have that every day for 60 minutes. Yeah, because they're not teaching our children nothing because they're so emotionally messed up. So
Wow.
family advocate class is you're there to sit down and tell your teacher how you feeling and y'all sit in a circle and kumbaya and all this and
Oh,
all
that's
that.
group therapy.
Basically is, but no one's getting paid for that though. But yeah,
The teachers are doing group therapy.
yeah, ain't that wild?
But they not getting $50 per kid per hour.
Not at all.
Bless the teachers.
Bless the teachers, yeah. So
Give the
that
teachers they $50 per
yeah,
kid per
yeah.
hour
It
for
may
group
not
therapy.
be a whole hour. It might be like 30 minutes, but it's called FA Family
That's
Advocacy.
nice though, because
Yeah, but it's
the
too
kids get to
much.
kind of check in.
Yeah, they get to check in. And then they have like so many different other programs in the school now. Like they have JAG, which is basically focusing on the getting the child ready to go to work. No, this child is not going to go to college, but let's try to give them the skills so they can hold down a job, so they know how to talk to their employer, they know how to fill out an application, and they are in this class all day long, well, half a day, and then they go to work.
So,
Or-
because when we were in school, kids went to Votech to get those skills, but they're getting it in the regular school.
They get it in the
The
regular
kids
school.
who are like, I'm not going to a university, that ain't my thing.
Yep. And then they'll leave JAG and either go home, go to a job, or still go to AVTS. Well, it's not called AVTS. It's called VTS.
I
Who
think
knows?
it's ATS. Just
ATS,
Area
yeah.
Technical School.
School, yeah.
Yeah, they took out vocational for whatever reason.
Doesn't make any sense.
And so the high school is given basically a foundation of skill development, and then they can go to the technical school to actually learn how to be a beautician or nail tech or LPN or whatever it is that they get
yeah,
at the.
they have welding, automotive. They have
Yes.
all those different things, and they even have a course to be a firefighter.
Oh, that's good.
And also with the district that I'm working in, because I'm not going to say the name because I'm supposed to be at work right now. They
We gonna keep moving so that hopefully nobody.
in the year 3021 or 2031 or something like that, or some 2027, I don't know, some class, when every student that graduates from high school by their choice should finish high school and actually be a first semester, at least a first semester sophomore in college. That is their initiative.
That is great, because there are kids I know over here in Missouri, they have it set up where kids can graduate with their high school diploma and an associate's degree.
Yeah.
Like
That's why I
they
said
leave the high school, they
bare
go to the
minimum.
community college, and they're taking college credit courses, and it's free.
And
So it's like
free.
a free associate's
Free,
degree,
you don't got 2 more years to go, and then hell, I'll pay for you to go to school then.
which saves thousands of dollars for families. And you know, the kids, we talked about this last week when the kids were on the show, because they wanted to know basically, okay, if my parent does not have money to pay for college, how can I go? And that's one of the things that I talked about. So the school system, it sounds like it's changed a lot since
changed
we
a
were in
lot.
school. Of course, that was a minute ago that
But
we
guess
were in
what?
school.
The difference is that we had more teachers that really did give a care.
Uh-huh.
Now we don't have. I mean, I see it.
That is a complaint that I've been hearing.
Out of 150 teachers, I'm just going to throw that number out there. I think it's all about probably 20 that really, truly, honestly care.
And you're
about the
being
kids.
yeah, and you're being generous, because my conversations with some upper level administrators, their percentages of teachers who they feel are truly dedicated and care, it was pretty low.
Yes.
One said as low as like 9 or 10%.
And that's terrible.
And so they've, on a positive note, you're talking about all these different things that they have added to the educational setting to improve it. But then there's still the problem of teachers
Not wanting to work.
not having enough teachers, not having enough teachers who care, because it's so intense in the schools that the good teachers get burnt out and they leave.
Burned out.
And so sometimes the ones that are left are the ones that needed to leave.
Yeah. Just sit in the room and look at a movie. Don't make no noise. Sit here, watch a movie, and I'm gonna give you a B. Not teaching our children anything.
Ridiculous.
But it's happening.
See, and this is why your grandkids are at private school.
Period.
Right.
Or all the way up north.
All the way
Period.
up north, where, yes, in like some better school districts. Okay, this flows into some of my mental health and illness in the news
come
stories.
on, give it to us, JP.
So we're gonna skip my check-in. Let's talk about mental health and illness in the schools. I mean, in the news, but we're gonna talk about the schools. See, I'm thinking about these schools. Okay, so Missouri is short 3,500 teachers. They have a teacher shortage, 3,500. Here's part of the problem. Missouri is still ranking among the lowest paid in the country, the state of Missouri. So that's a problem. As you were talking about, there's not enough teachers. Now, here is something that some districts are doing. Independence, Missouri, for those of you, because there is an Independence, Kansas. I'm talking about Independence, Missouri, is reducing to a 4-day week for their students. The students are going to have Mondays off. Since they made that decision, teacher applications increased by 40%. This is how they are getting teachers to come back into the school.
But your day is longer.
They didn't say they're extending the day.
They have to.
Well,
It's a federal law. They have to have a certain amount of days and hours a year.
well, and they didn't mention it on the news.
Yeah, they probably did.
But I would still rather work
4/10s.
a longer day, because typically teachers are getting off at 2:45, 2:15.
No, your day starts at 7 and you get off at 3. You work a whole 8 hours. You don't.
Oh,
get
I'm
a
thinking
lunch
about
break.
when the kids get to leave.
No.
Okay.
We're there. Some people probably get there at 6:30. I get there at 7.
Well, yes.
Oh, 8.
The D gonna come when the D feel like coming.
It's just so hard for me to get there. It's just really. But no, 7 to 3. We get a paid lunch. We got a whole planning period and everything.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on reducing to a 4-day work week to solve or put a dent in the problem of the teacher shortage? Because if the teacher applications increase by 40%, that's significant. And what they were saying is 140 other districts in the state of Missouri have also made that switch. And around the country, 900 school districts have done that. Apparently, teachers who had left the profession or weren't willing to enter into it, they like, 4 days instead of 5? Okay, I'll go back. So what are your thoughts, D, on a 4-day week? Can you handle 4-day week?
That might sound a little pretty good. I might be able to do that a little bit better.
I mean, when you think about I worked 4 days a week when we were at the mental health center.
You sure did.
And I preferred that. Now, yes, it was supposed to be 10, but it was 11, 12-hour days. I'm locking up the building at night after the cleaning crew had left.
You had a key.
I had a key. I was locking up the
But
building.
you didn't come in.
But I liked having
keep it
3 days
real.
off.
Keep it real. You didn't come in till 11 a.m.
No, I came in at 10. I came in. I was supposed to work from 10 to 8. I would be there until, everybody would leave. The cleaning crew would come in. They would finish cleaning. I would still be working. I would leave at about 10 at night. I didn't care. I liked having 3 days off because I was building my private practice.
Yes,
so I
you
was
were.
working those 3 days. I was still working 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So for those teachers out there that have left the profession, if you find a district that's doing 4 days a week, at least look into it, because the kids need you back in these schools. I'm talking about the good teachers. I'm not talking about you fools who needed to stay gone. If you
Exactly.
and you bad teachers, y'all know you bad. You know the bad teachers know that they are bad teachers. We're not asking you to come back. All right.
But some bad teachers don't think they're bad, and then it goes back to the other.
How
thing
do they
about-
not know?
I don't know. But some of them want to be their friend. They think if they're their friend that they're not going to cuss them out. Negative. You have to build that rapport, respect. They already know. Don't mess with his head.
And that's a weak approach. They're intimidated. That's the reason why they're
I'm not
trying to
scared of you.
befriend them to avoid getting cussed out
Exactly.
instead of setting structure.
Exactly.
Put structure in place. Here's what I think happens to teachers, and I think this also happens to nurses. I don't think, when it comes to teachers who are a problem, I don't think they started off that way. It is so emotionally taxing and draining to teach in urban schools.
Yes.
Okay. In these current times, they're getting burnt out. So what the districts need to do, and they're going to turn to social workers to do this. So D, be ready.
Nah, be
Yes, they
gone.
are. What they need to do is help teachers with self-care, helping them with not only psychological but physical self-care, encouraging exercise and meditation, all of these different things, because if they invested more money in providing trainings on self-care, you would have fewer teachers getting burnt out. In mental health, these workshops are called, it's the avoiding burnout workshops, compassion fatigue.
That's what it is.
In mental health, it's called compassion. Like, you are spending all day, every day helping other people.
Helping
It
other
is
people.
so emotionally draining that after a while you experience compassion fatigue, which means you burnt the
out.
hell
Wow.
out, and they leave the profession. But for those who don't leave, oftentimes it's because they have been in the profession for so long that they are making so much money that they can't make a smooth transition into a whole nother profession. And if you're a teacher, teaching is what you do. So a lot of times a teacher is not going to be able to run out and get a job as an architect or run out and get a job as an engineer. They're a teacher.
Yeah.
So they feel stuck even though they are experiencing burnout. So that's what's going on with a lot of the teachers who are a problem.
And the school district, basically, they pay you on your education
Okay.
and how many years you've been doing what you're doing. I had over 25 years in it. So they really was like, whoa, really? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Give me the
25
concept.
years of social work.
25 years of social work and my master's degree.
And you need to be compensated for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it also locks people into the position.
Locks them in because the type of money that they're trying to pay. I mean, they get paid decent because I'm on the same schedule as a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the same.
You're not on the same
schedule.
pay scale.
Yes, I am.
You are?
We all on one pay scale. Yes.
Really?
Yes. And when you go and get other little things, like you might go to some little training and you turn it in,
Right.
then you get compensated for that.
Oh.
So yeah, a teacher can sit up and be making like $90,000
And they are,
easily.
once you make it $90,000,
As
even
a
if you are
teacher.
burnt out and you can't even stand the kids no more,
They're gonna be watching movies.
you want to punch these kids in their face. But if you're making $90,000, you're going to go and sit there and put on a movie. Or allow the kids to get away with things that back in the day when you first started, burnout, preventative measures.
And I do want to say that there are three professions that you either have it or you don't. And I don't really came up with them three professions.
Okay, so tell
It's
me.
either a nurse. You can't, because it's a certain
can't
type
fake it.
of
You
it's a
either-
certain type of something you have to have in you
Right.
for you to be a nurse.
Okay.
There's something in you that you have to be a teacher and also a social worker.
Right.
You just can't fake those things.
What does it take to have longevity in those careers?
Hell, I don't
Because
know.
nurses,
You
a lot
tell
of those
us, 'cause
mean nurses
we've been
get
up-
burnt out.
We've been in profession for over 25, almost 30 years, JP.
So let
what
me
do it
answer the
take?
question.
Let you answer the question.
I was letting you because see, I'm a provider for a couple of school districts, so I see a lot of teachers and upper level administrators in therapy. But you know, the D, you working for them, so I was letting you. But
Money.
here's how you prevent burnout. Scratch that. This is how I prevented burnout.
How did you prevent it?
Because I still love therapy. I love it.
We know you do. Super
Love it like I
therapist.
did 25 years
Super
ago, D.
therapist. Super therapist.
But my career has been under constant change and evolution over the course of the 25 years, which keeps it fresh. And so I started out doing 100% in-home therapy at the mental health center. And then I switched it up and I started doing therapy out of the office. And then I started working on launching my private practice. In private practice, initially, I was back to 100% in-home, but I mixed up the clientele. So I had foster kids, and then I had kids in group homes, I had kids in detention centers. It has continued to evolve.
Doing everything.
So then the next phase was seeing people out of the office and mixing that with in-home. And then the next phase, once the pandemic started, it was all telehealth, which I had never done before. And so now I'm doing a mixture of office and telehealth, but this is how I prevented burnout. I weeded out those settings that were going to burn me out. The in-home with the foster homes, I was coming across foster parents who were abusive to their kids.
They want you back. I have one on my caseload that wants you back. They need you.
What, to do in-home in the foster home? I'm not playing those games. I was running across some horrible foster parents who were abusive, to the point where it puts you in a position where you got to hotline these foster parents. Yeah. But because they are foster parents who take kids that none of the other foster parents want, the hotlining
it goes underneath
the state overlooked it, like, we don't care that she calls that kid an MF and an SOB every day and talks about the biological parents.
Because it's less money than they have to pay. We're putting them in a
facility.
It's less money. It's all about the money.
So I had to weed that out. The other reason why I weeded out foster care is because it's tons of reports. I got tired after 20 years of typing reports until 3 o'clock in the morning. That was burning me out. I had to let that go. And then you go to court. Court's scheduled at 1 o'clock. You sitting in the waiting area for 2-3 hours. It's 4 o'clock before you get into the courtroom.
You made all of $10 an hour.
Everybody there is getting paid except the therapist.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is salaried. Therapists are private practitioners. So you've lost. You've cleared your schedule for 3, 4, 5 hours of what is essentially pro bono. And so that was burning me out. The meetings and the court dates. And then
not getting paid for it.
And you ain't getting paid for none of that. The last thing that I did to prevent burnout is I stopped seeing specific clients that were burning me out. I cut out the sex offender treatment.
You know, you were the bomb on it. Everybody wanted you to.
I had to let it go.
It's too much.
And it was too high risk in private practice. When we were at the mental health center,
that is true.
Kansas was holding sex offenders accountable. We had lie detector tests and bismographs, and if they didn't participate in treatment, they were sent to prison.
Yes.
Well, that has changed. A sex offender cannot participate in treatment, not do anything they're expected to do, and there are no consequences, and they're riding the therapist's license. So there's the risk that if they reoffend, that the parent of the victim is like, I'm suing everybody. Because this sex offender should be in prison. I'm suing everybody connected to this sex offender. The stress of that was burning me out. And so preventing burnout for a therapist means you tailor your I love my caseload now. I got my teenagers, I have my adults, I have my couples, my families.
College students.
My college students are wonderful. I am able to still love therapy because I have molded my career as time goes by. The problem with teachers is they don't necessarily have the option of molding, but what they do have the option of doing is getting more education and moving up. Moving from being in the classroom to being an assistant principal and vice principal and principal and educational director, all the way up.
All the way up. Superintendents, because our superintendent is in her 40s.
There you go. And so that is what teachers can do to prevent burnout. If you getting burnt out in the classroom, there are other ways for
They
you
pay
to
for you to go to
educate,
school.
and they pay for the schooling. So that's the reason why I don't have patience with burnt out teachers who are not doing their jobs, because they do have some options. They don't have the options that I necessarily have had, but they don't have to be stuck in that classroom failing to educate our children. Move the hell on.
Move around.
There you go. Okay, here's my next mental health and illness in the news story, and it's in alignment because we're talking about schools, and I just talked about sex offenders. A woman in Springfield, Missouri, alerted the school district that her son's bus stop had 2 sex offenders on his route.
Oh, wow.
The bus stopping right in front of the sex offenders' houses, registered sex offenders. So the school district immediately made an adjustment
Good.
because they try to be sure that the bus stops are at least 500 feet from the registered sex offenders. Here's the problem, though. This is what I want our listeners and our viewers to do. When you pull up the Watchdog app, have you ever pulled up the Watchdog app?
Hell yeah, you know how about my grandkids?
Every one of those flags, whether it's a red one, a black
Blue
one,
one.
every one of those flags is a child abuser. And so I'm trying to figure out, how are they routing? This is what I want you all doing who are listening to the show. Get on the Watchdog Sex Offender Registry. Now, you're going to be traumatized.
Mr. Walker, can you pull it up right now?
Pull
and
it
see
up.
where we are.
Pull it
how
up,
many
Mr. Walker.
sex offenders we have around here by the radio station?
Put in your zip code. And be prepared, because you are going to be traumatized at how many sex offenders are in your neighborhood, which makes me wonder, how are they keeping the bus stops 500 feet from all the registered sex offenders? If you throw a rock, you're going to hit a registered sex offender.
There's so many.
There is so many. And so that's what, like, Springfield, Missouri was probably able to do that. But I would bet here in the city of Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, they are not able to make sure that the bus stops are 500 feet away from the sex
the
offenders.
Ones that are registered. What
That's
about
just
the
the
ones
registered
that's
ones.
not registered?
Exactly.
Because they're supposed to register until they die.
Exactly. And so when you think about it from that perspective, because you have the sex offenders who done moved and they decided, I'm not going to register. And then you have the ones who have never been fully convicted. So, of course, they're not registered. If you live in a city, chances are your children on their bus stop, they quite likely on that route that bus is taking, some of those kids are too close to sex offenders.
It's Watchdog.
It's the Watchdog app.
He done went to the whole Missouri offenders.
Okay, it's go to familywatchdog.us, I believe, and put in what is the what's the zip code for the radio station?
64128.
Oh, 28.
128.
Oh, it's close.
One, 2, 8. Now, are there any schools in this area?
Yes, elementaries most definitely.
Okay, 64128. And all I have to do is hit it.
Start search.
Okay.
Woo! Look at them. Yellow,
There you go.
green, red, blue.
They don't see this. Just a second.
Okay.
Isn't
Can
that
you-
terrible?
And we need for our viewers to see, and I need for our viewers to enter this in your phones. It is shocking how many there are. Mr. Walker started playing some music. Mr. Walker, you started to play a jam to calm people's nerves from how many sex offenders they're about to see.
Trying to see if this is showing up here.
Is it showing up? There it is.
Mr. Walker's trying to fix it so that you all can see, but the screen was painted with flags. And what you
Yes.
do is you click on the flag to get the image and the address of the offender.
We're just looking right around here. Man.
All parents need to do this because you need to know where your kids can and cannot go in your neighborhood.
Look like nowhere.
Lean back the other way. No, here.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, and that's the zip code for
The
where
radio
the
show.
station is here in Kansas City, Missouri. Basically, this neighborhood is drowning in offenders. So how can a kid in this neighborhood go to the bus stop
They can't.
and not
Look, they all on top of each other.
they on top of each other?
See where we are. 39th Street. This is 31st Street here. Central Park. We are
Right there.
right here. Yeah, it's got a school.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a school. So somebody across the street.
Somebody across.
Somebody,
Hell, they yelling.
we are across the
Or, no,
street.
we're here, so let's say this is a school, I guess.
What you do? Ooh, there he is.
Oh, Mr.
Terry
Walker,
Allen Lee.
Mr. Walker done pulled up the sex offender because when you click,
1957.
and let me tell you, there's
65 years old.
there's gonna be a million flags. When you click on it, this is the information that comes up so that you can be able to know what the offender
Yes,
in
most
your
definitely.
neighborhood looks like.
This is part of protecting your child and also protecting you from catching a case.
And this is why I drove our kids to school and picked them up. Our
Exactly.
kids didn't ride the bus.
The bus is in front of my house
Which is the safest place,
because I got it like that.
right in front of the house, because this
Which I
is scary.
get mad because little bad kids be throwing their trash and stuff. But still, my
Every-
granddaughter just walk out and she's on the bus.
Right there. Every parent, every grandparent, you need to enter your address into that app and see where the offenders are so that you can let your kids know, okay, you know, we ain't trick-or-treating there. We ain't going to that house.
You,
for
hell, you
trick-or-treating.
can't trick or
We-
treat.
we
The way it
ain't-
look, you should
There's
trick or treat over here.
Let me tell you, for anybody who lives in this neighborhood, you're not going trick-or-treating
No.
this year. Because the
Just go to
screen
the
was
mall. Go to the mall.
covered.
Go to
Screen
the
was
mall
covered.
and do your trick or treat.
Go to the mall and do it. But parents, you need to know where your kids can and cannot go in the neighborhood. Look at that. That is
It's
just
scary.
absurd.
It's just scary. Mm-hmm.
And even clients, because don't think just because we're in the inner city, because I have had clients that I've had them do this in session who live in nice neighborhoods.
Oh,
now
yeah.
it might not be
As
this many flags,
but it's still there.
They still end up with their jaw on the floor.
They still there.
There's still tons, way
I-
more than what
I just
people could
love
imagine.
it that, and you know, they have to pay each month. They have to register each month.
Oh,
and
they
pay.
have to pay.
Oh,
to-
in state
even
of
though they're
Kansas.
forced to be on
Not
the
in
register.
Missouri, but in the state of Kansas, they have to pay $50 each month. If they don't, that's a violation.
Yeah, because they're not supposed to move without registering again
They have to register each month in the state of Kansas.
and pay
And
for the rest
pay
of their lives.
$50.
Wow.
Even
All
if they
right.
get sick and broke down, somebody better go do it, or they get a doctor's statement.
Do something. But the ones who don't have the money are probably not registering.
Oh, and they have a
Which is
warrant
a
out,
problem.
and they have a warrant out for their arrest.
And when they get arrested, they call the D because the D steals the bail bonds.
Yeah, I will get you out though.
Right. D, stop getting the sex offenders out.
Their money green too.
All right, let's get to the question of the day. This is going to be a quick, easy, simple question of the day. We just moved in together, and I'm already ready to kill him. How do we get through this transition? I am seeing lots of couples in therapy who are experiencing this because they have decided they don't want to shack up prior to getting married. And I know, D, you're a non-shacker, so you can relate to that.
I'm a non-shacker.
But the problem with not shacking up prior to marriage is that you end up unpleasantly surprised sometimes.
No,
with
not really. I mean, you still spend the night with them or something. We're just not going to cohabitate. I'm not doing that. I mean, I come spend the night
But
with
when a
you,
person
come.
spends the night, they can still be putting on their best behavior because they're spending the night. You need a fool living with you, living under your roof in order for you to truly see whether or not you all are compatible.
I think after 6 months, you can only fake it for so long, Jura. If he can fake
But
it that
y'all
long,
married at that point. What you gonna do? Put him out?
No, 6 months of us spend the night, and I mean, you can go to his house and you can see how he live. You live like that.
Yeah, he would need to be spending the night like 4, 5, 6 nights a week, D, in
No,
order
not
for you
them
to
many
get a
nights.
feeling, in
I
order
don't
for you to
think
get a
so.
feeling
I don't
of
think
what
so.
it's like to live with him.
No, I don't think it takes that long.
D,
What? I'm out here in these streets.
I need you.
I know.
Here you go. She's out here in these streets, y'all. The D is single. The D is single. She out in these
I'm
streets.
out here in these streets. I can tell.
D, I need you to be shacking. Well, you can't shack. You got your grandbaby in the house, right?
That's a good one for me. That's why they can't.
Can
come
you
spend night.
can you spend at least 4 or 5 nights at his house, D, in a row? Because then you'll know what you're getting.
Well, I don't think I want to give him that much time. That's a lot of time.
But if you
'Cause
marry the
I've
fool
been
and he
by
moves
myself
in,
now, I'm like really enjoy. If someone move in to my home, I don't even know where they're gonna put their clothes at.
let me tell you, I have seen couples where it's mainly one person's house and the other person, they get like one closet and all they crap need to go in that one closet.
I don't even have that. Mr.
Mr. Walker ain't
don't
got a
do
closet.
it. You're gonna
Mr.
be
Walker,
in trouble. You're gonna
look,
be in trouble when you
Is
get
Miss
home.
Walker listening to
You
the
know
show,
she
Mr. Walker? Because
is.
don't keep
She's
it
our
too
number
real.
one friend.
Mr. Walker, don't think you get to speak the unspeakable. See, we
Exactly.
speak it. You might end up in some trouble. Mr. Walker, how much space do you have in the house?
A closet.
Mr. Walker has a closet.
And
See,
how
I
many
have
closets
clothes
do
in
you
every
have?
closet.
I got a
We don't.
basement office though. I got office stuff.
Oh, you got, see, that's like a man cave.
Yeah.
Mr. Walker has his space. Mr. Walker, you can't relate to what we talking about. We ain't talking about your situation.
I mean, because literally, like, my husband my ex, he took all his stuff out.
Did he have a man cave?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he has space.
He had space, but he didn't have any closet space. But I gave away some stuff. He had 2 closets.
He can put some racks down in his man cave and hang
No, he
from
had
the racks.
the gym down there, plus the big old TV and the fish tank.
He had his space.
Yeah, he didn't have any room. So he didn't have any room for clothes. But he had 2 closets and 2 dressers. But now all those are mine.
Well, because you single again.
I'm single again. So
But there's no
room
room for the next man to move in.
He's going to have to buy us a bigger house or something.
But y'all know the D will make room for a man. I ain't gonna believe that she won't. D, you will make room for a man. Because you don't believe in
The
shacking.
right man. No, I'm not going to
You don't believe in shacking. You are a get married kind of girl. The D always want to marry some damn
3
body.
times.
There is a message on the screen.
Okay, what's the message?
What does it say?
It says, "Don't even talk about closets, Juro."
Oh my
Every single
God.
room in the house with a closet has your stuff in it.
I got all my stuff in one closet.
In all the closets. It look like it's in all the closets.
Don't listen to this woman. Do not listen to my wife. I don't have stuff in all the closets at home.
Nothing's in Sasha's room.
This
That's
I
all
don't
we
have
want.
any.
That's all
I
we
don't
want.
have any clothes in my baby's room, and Nadine has a closet that I don't have anything in her closet.
That's 2 closets. And you live in like a 5-bedroom house.
The rest of them closets is up for grabs. The boys are grown. What they need their closets for? I had look. That was free space, and I am working on because Nadine has a closet in her office. I do have some. I do have some clothes in
He
her.
says the devil is a lie.
The devil is
He's a
alive.
liar.
Why is this woman? I need her. Can we cut off her comments, Mr. Walker? I have almost moved all of my clothes out of her closet that's in her office as well. Because I'm trying to treat this woman good. Oh,
I know
yes.
that's right, JP.
Yes. Ooh. All right. But after I lose the 10 pounds I need to lose, I am going to have to go shopping for more clothes.
And where are you going to put them at? Back in her office closet?
She ain't using that closet. That woman ain't using that closet. All right, here are my suggestions for adjusting to living with someone after you have been single. First
Oh,
thing,
hear that.
remember that it is normal for couples to get into it. It is normal to have. It's an unrealistic goal that, oh, me and my spouse are never going to have a disagreement. Be realistic. That is normal. Moving in with each other is a big transition. Go into it aware that it's going to be a big transition. Don't go into it with this, oh, everything's going to be perfect and peachy. No, it's an adjustment because you have gone from totally running the show to giving up at least 50% of your power
51.
over a household.
If
Because
it's
the
a
D
man.
got to have 51%.
No.
So if you with the D, you only got
49.
49.
No, I have 49. They have 51.
Oh, D, you get a man an extra percentage.
Yes.
But it's your house.
I am rude.
So you're saying that, but it's your house.
Well, he can give us a bigger house then. And he can have 55%.
After he buys the house. Okay, here's more to think about. 2 people going from having everything their way to having given up the 50%, as I was saying, be prepared to make accommodations. Here's the next thing. Pick your battles. I want you to factor in 2 things before you decide to check a fool. Because a lot of times people think, well, I gotta have a voice, and I ain't gonna be weak. I ain't gonna be no pushover. Who?
Guess what? Guess what?
Don't come
God
with that
gave
energy.
you 2 ears and 1 mouth, which
Right.
means you're supposed to listen double than what you speak.
And thank you, D. And when you pick your battles, you are not being weak or subservient. You are showing that you have the common sense enough to pick your battles
Wisdom.
because you are sharing living space with someone. You don't get to battle over every single thing that pops
Everything.
into your head. Now, here's what I want you to look at. 2 things that you factor in as you're trying to decide, is this a battle that I need to fight or do I need to let this mess go? Because as the D said, you're supposed to do twice as much listening as okay? So you got to learn when to shut up. You got to learn when to shut up. 2 things. 1, how important or significant is the grievance? And I usually encourage couples to look at it in a really kind of concrete way. On a scale of 0 to 10, ask yourself, okay, how upsetting is this? How significant is this? Like my spouse, they keep leaving,
The toilet stool seat up.
that's a good one. Although I do encourage my male clients, put the daggum toilet seat down. Like to me, that's just polite and courteous.
I just think that should be one of those things, because I had to get used to that I fall in and be like, babe, and he'd be like, I'm sorry. And then we chuckle and it is over.
On a scale of 0 to 10, because first you have to figure out what your cutoff is. So you look at things on a scale of 0 to 10, and for some people, anything that is a 7 or above, I'm having a conversation with my spouse. If it's 7 or below, they're like, I'm gonna let this roll off. Let's use the example of the toilet seat, D. When you sit and your cheeks hit that toilet water, because he didn't put the seat down, on a scale of 0 to 10, because you just admitted you be addressing it. On a scale of 0 to 10, how significant is that issue?
It was like a 1.5. Because
Then
if he
D, why did you?
Because
then
I don't
why'd you
feel
say
it.
something?
Because I've been feeling it. I'll be like, babe. And he'd
D.
be like, I'm sorry, babe. And then we'll chuckle and it's over with.
But if it's only a 1, that
I don't
means
care. My
just
booty
put the
got
toilet
wet.
seat down and keep it moving.
But I didn't put it down. It's in the middle of the night. You know, you got to go get that 2 o'clock out. And you just, you don't turn the light on.
D's at the age where she got to get up in the middle of the night and use the bathroom.
You don't turn the light on. You just go plop and you go bloop.
But D,
he chuckles because he already know what he done.
Right.
So he just chuckles and he be like, I'm sorry, baby. Come over here so I can wipe it off of you.
But D,
And
what
it's
I'm
over with.
saying is, if you looked at it
Now,
on a
if it
scale of
was-
0 to 10,
It was
if
like a 1.5.
If it's only 1.5,
Okay, so
Why
say
are
for
you-
instance, I went in there at 3 p.m. I just put
Okay.
the top down and go by my business. So
okay.
it was the
So sometimes you
time.
would
It
pick
was-
that battle.
Yeah, it was the time, but it really wasn't even that bad of a battle because we would chuckle.
In the middle of the night, then it probably was ranking a little higher.
No, because I didn't really get mad. I just wanted him to know that my booty done got wet and
Well,
you
that
about
doesn't
to wipe
count.
it off.
Oh, all right. So for those of you listening, the things that don't make you mad, we're not talking about that stuff. We're talking about the things that upset you.
Some women get very, very upset about
And
that.
what they need to do, if on a scale of 0 to 10, if their cutoff is 5, if that toilet seat being up and them falling into the toilet is 5 or above, then you need to have a conversation with your partner. What
Now,
I'm
I'm
saying
gonna tell
is,
you what used to be a 7.5 for me.
What?
When I was with the ex. Like, say, for instance, I go out with the girls.
Uh-huh.
And y'all know I don't eat that much. Even though I'm a big girl, I really don't have that much of an appetite.
Right.
So I bring most of my food home, right? So I
Right.
put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
So I'm at work. Oh, when I get home, I'm going to eat that up. Oh, I can't wait. And you come home.
And it's gone. So that was 7.5.
That
So
was
you
a
had to
7.5
address.
to
Well, what's
me.
your cutoff, D? At what level is like, okay, this is too much. I gotta have a conversation.
It probably, I'd be like, you just ate up my food?
But
And I ain't cooking for you for 5 days.
but when you look at it, because I'm wanting our listeners to rank these things on a scale of 0 to 10, figure out how angry you have to be in order for you to confront your partner. Seven and a
I feel
half
like I
is
almost
pretty
confronted
high.
all the time, huh? Yeah,
You
what
was
am I?
confronting
I was
on 1.5,
confronting a lot. I was
D. You
confronting
doing
1.5.
too much.
No, I wasn't. He needed to know
Okay.
what he did.
Here's
He
the
probably
next
did it
step.
on purpose because he was the devil.
Here, the devil. Here's the next one. Factor that in. How much, in looking at how much does it upset you on a 0 to 10 scale, you decide what your personal threshold is and address everything that is above that. For me, anything that is like a 6 or 7 or above,
Give
that's
us an
when I'm
example,
addressing it.
because none of my examples are working. Give us an example.
An example.
Be careful, Nadine. You know Nadine watching.
Yeah, here, what is an example? For me, getting yelled at.
Yeah.
Because my mother was not a yeller. My
wasn't
mother was a
raised with that
quiet spoken
either.
person, and she didn't
Yes.
play, and she
She's
did not
authoritative.
play, but she didn't yell when she could check a fool without yelling.
Voice stay just
And
like
so
that.
I have never been accustomed to being yelled at. If I am yelled at, because for me on a 0 to 10, anything that is 6 or 7 or above, I have to address it. Being yelled at hits me at an 8 and a 9. So I have to address that. Now, my wife probably isn't going to like this.
She haven't
These are the
explained.
things that don't rank high enough, so I let them go.
Uh-oh.
Here's an example.
Speaking the unspeakable.
It's time to speak it.
Speak. Come on, you got
My
4
wife,
minutes.
some people are going to think this is funny. My wife, for some reason, she does not close anything up. Like chips, cookies, anything she opens. Now, let me say this because she's going to get mad. She has improved considerably because she used to leave everything open and everything would be stale.
I don't know. Don't that make you mad when you getting ready to eat your
And our boys even would talk about it and be like, the Doritos are stale, the chips are stale, the bread is stale. Like, I think she be in a hurry. And so when she's done with something, she just kind of do this
put it back in
and
the
throw it
cupboard.
away. And that's not rolling it up, putting the little clip thing on there. See, and so a lot of things would be stale. For years, I never addressed it. Because for me, on a scale of 0 to 10, you got to be at a 6 or 7.
So it was like a 3.
This irritates me on like a 2 or 3. Now, what she's going to say is...
Stop it.
What she's going to say is, then why'd you say something about it?
Use
Because
clips.
here's what happened. Even though it annoys me on a low level, after 10 years, one day it had bumped up and I said something. And so she's probably thinking...
Was it the Oreo cookies you was ready to eat?
I think it was some chips. I think it was some chips.
And you was ready, had your mouth ready, had your soda.
Yes.
You was about to go watch this movie, you and the baby. And
This stuff be horribly stale.
yeah.
Like, you literally have to throw it away. And so that's something that I want couples to be aware of is even after you come up with your 0 to 10, something that goes on for years and years and years, it gradually increases and it might cross the threshold where you address it. But here's what happened. Because my wife, she does so much better at this, but she still be leaving some crap stale. But I've addressed it, and now I'm back down to here. So it might be another 10 years before I address that again.
And when you was at when you were at 7,
It was just the wrong
It's
day
just
that
the-
day.
it
I
was
was not
wrong.
in the mood that
Exactly.
day.
Exactly.
And on that day, I said something because I was like, I'm irritated. Like, all this crap is just open. So that's my suggestion is that you pick your battles. You figure out what your cutoff is. You address anything that is above your threshold of, ooh, I'm too pissed. I have to deal with this. You want to look at how upsetting is it. Now, here's an example. For a person who's like, okay, I'm dating somebody who doesn't like my kids. You ask yourself, how upsetting is that to me on
That's
a 0
10
to
plus.
10?
It's a 10 plus.
But in this example here, because sometimes it splits. In this example, the client was saying that really was a 3 because I don't like my own kids sometimes. Like, I do got heathens. And so the client was like, I'm only at a 3 on that. But then I asked, okay, how important is this issue?
It's very important.
And then she said, oh, on a 0 to 10, it's an
10
8.
plus.
And I said, you got to go home and address that issue. You cannot marry someone who does
don't
not like your
children.
kids.
Because no, you don't like them, but you love them. They don't have that connection.
They don't love them or like them.
Exactly.
And so even if, and that's what can happen sometimes on this scaling to pick your battles, sometimes you will have 2 different numbers. If you ask yourself, how upsetting is this? That might be one number, but then when you ask how important is it, if either one of those numbers is above your threshold, whatever your cutoff is, you got to deal with that situation. Now, I'm not saying go to your partner and cuss them out and act a dang-gum fool. That is not what I am saying.
It's time.
I'm saying address the issue.
It's not too much to address when they don't like your children.
That's a deal breaker.
Period.
And everybody needs to know their deal breakers.
Yes, that's a deal breaker for me.
And I always, because when I see couples who get married, even though the person doesn't like the kids, they think, oh, they'll grow on them. No, they end up disliking them more and
y'all
more
just
and
having
more.
more and more arguments because you're like, are you picking on my child Or you be a punk and just let them mistreat your child. Ain't nobody gonna mistreat mine.
Exactly. And that a relationship cannot withstand that.
No, they can't.
And it's not fair to your kids because you chose to have them. They didn't ask to be born.
Especially if they're under 18. That's a big problem. Now,
Yes.
if they're grown,
You put them out and be with who you wanna be with.
You might be able to deal with a little bit. No, because you're going to want to see your grandchildren. Because it is some men out here that just don't like kids.
Don't like kids. That's true. You do have fools who don't like kids.
It is.
Scratch
It's
that.
quite a
Let me
few
not
of
say
them.
that. Let
It's
me not
quite a
call them
few.
fools. Let me not call them
Okay,
fools. That
it's
ain't
fools out here that just don't like kids.
Thank you, D, for saying it. I'm not saying it. The D said it. The D speaking the unspeakable. Because how do you not like kids? All right. So that's our show for today. I hope we answered the question. I'm basically answering it from a perspective of pick your battles. When you pick your battles, you're not being weak. You're not being subservient. You are practicing common sense. In life, we cannot complain to our partner about every single thing that upsets us, or you will be pissed and fussing
lonely.
all the time. And you could end up lonely. Exactly.
But you could still have peace of mind. I have no problems with going to sleep at night.
You're not lonely. You're alone.
I'm
There's a
alone.
difference.
Okay, that is true.
Yeah. All right. That's our show for today. Thank you all for joining us. It's so good to have the D back.
I'm glad to be back.
Thank you and God bless.
Bye-bye now.
Oh, hold on a minute.
We forgot. We messed up because we
you
ain't been here.
Right.
Okay, do it again. Okay.
Remember,
Okay.
because the D came up with this. Remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything.
There you go. Now
Bye-bye now.
we're done.
We done totally forgot about our little.
And they said great show.
It said great show. Nadine said that. That woman gonna fuss me about them chips though.
You in trouble.
Because let me tell you,